What's going on? Back at it again. What's up, guys? It's your boy Don't Whenever, back at it again with another episode of the Kings franchise. As last episode, we were nearing All-Star break. We are going to start this episode at All-Star break with our Rising Stars game with the rookies and sophomores. If we take a look at John Wall cooking it up, passing it to Paul George for the three. As we definitely like to see the young stars on other teams exemplify their talents and everything on center stage on this All-Star weekend. You might see a guy that's on our team roaming around there, Big Boogie Cousins, doing his thing. We definitely want to see what he can do versus some of the young stars in the league, as we do have Psycho T passing the ball in the corner. They do pull up for the shot, and Brandon Jennings is showing what that work is already. Showing his people that he is the top of his class. Hitting the three-pointer for the sophomores, as rookie John Wall does blow by Curry, but isn't able to get it. So we get it to Big man Cousins going up against Ibaka, and he blocks the shit out of that. Get that out of here, Cousins. You still got a lot to learn there. But Ibaka does get his block on that one. Curry hands off to Jennings, who has a nice cut through the lane and gets a lefty dunk off. I didn't even know Jennings had bunnies like that. I thought he was a layup finesse guy, but we'll take that, As we're just trying to have fun on the All-Star weekend and kind of make light of the situation in the way Sacktown is very struggling on the year, but at least we have some youngins that can give us some hope. Beautiful post spin by Cousins to get the nice dunk. Definitely a great way to represent us Kings Nation. But I definitely am hoping you guys are enjoying the videos. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I'm not seeing any likes or comments on the videos, man. I need y'all to smash that like button, man. Put them comments in there. Let me know how y'all feeling about the channel, man. Let me know how y'all feeling about the videos. Definitely love to hear any kind of feedback. But John Wall is a little too aggressive, as Brandon Jennings almost saw that coming to get the charge. But he does end up with just a blocking foul, as we do see Linsanity did also make it into this game for the rookie squad. I feel like Blake Griffin should be on the sophomores. We don't care that you tore your ACL the first season. You're a sophomore. Brandon Jennings is able to beat John Wall down the lane, skipping through that lane. Come find that man, as we need our rookies to start cooking up, but the game is tied though. And let me know in the chat who you guys think. Put in the comments who y'all think gonna win this game, the rookies or the sophomores. Looks to be pretty evenly matched. Have some superstars both ways. I would say it really is just the starters. Once you get into the bench, it really is just some low-level bench players on their teams that play. So we're really just gonna highlight the first quarter where the starters are at their freshest. But Ibaka does shoot up for the three after the Curry pass, but he does miss. And now it's Boogie time. He gets that ball, and the same thing he does when Sacktown's what he's doing in this game. Going in and slam. Okay, Boogie. Show him how you go coast to coast. Big boy style. Don't slow down, big fella. My man's doing what he got to do. Proving that he is going to become one of the most dominant centers in the league. But now it's the sophomores' turn, as they do kick it back to Brandon Jennings, the sweet lefty. But he's not able to make that lefty jumper right there, missing that three ball. Now it's Blake Griffin's turn. Behind the back, taking it coast to coast. Okay, rookies, show him how it's done. Hit him with the physical lay. Curry is off on his patented pull-up three-point jumper. So now it's John Wall's turn to slice through the defense, and he misses the easy layup. I don't want to say it's easy. That was very heavily contested, but for someone like John Wall going up against Steph Curry, we definitely thought he would be able to move through that pretty easily. But then Ibaka comes through and slams it home. Great passing from the guards on this sophomore squad. And the rookies just showing that they're pretty good at this ISO ball thing. So now it's time for John Wall to cook up. Blows through Steph Curry, but isn't able to get through the finish, so we do keep swinging it. And now it's time for Paul George again, Dagger from threes. As young Paul George is lighting it up, showing them at the 3-point range. Gotta keep hand down, man down is what they call it around here. Steph Curry's turn, but John Wall definitely knows about Curry's magic, so he definitely puts his hands up in that 3-point area. Now it's his turn to skip through that lane. Too easy for my young man right here. And after a bucket from the sophomores, John Wall comes back down, up again, or back down again for the rookie squad. Hits it with a nice nice scoop layup with the right hand. This John Wall showing he can finish with either side. And as we get later into it, we do see our former teammate that we traded in earlier episodes. Make sure you guys go check those earlier episodes out. And Tyreke Evans, as he is a son, doing what he got to do, crossing up with the floater. That was a nice move by Tyreke. Might want to trade back for him. Just playing. But our current Kings player in Caspi gets a nice interception to lead the break for the sophomores. Swinging it. They're looking to get some points on this possession. Nice pull up by Brandon Jennings. Splash. Brandon Jennings has definitely been one of the highlights, looking to win MVP for this game, as he's doing pretty well. But now it's John Wall on the break, and we know he's one of the fastest young guns in the league, but passes it off to his teammate and Trevor Booker for the beautiful slam. Two-handed thunder strike. Thundercats hold. No, I'm just playing. You guys are too young to know what that show was about. Shoot, I'm too young. I barely watched the episode. But that will end the first quarter, guys. Just wanted to give you guys a quick little preview of what's to come, of what the future of this franchise rebuild would look like, with a lot of the young guns showing up. Brandon Jennings had a heck of a game. Cousins showed his thing. Paul George was raining from deep. John Wall was making passes. Blake Griffin was taking it to the hoop. But we are going to fast forward through the rest of the game, as that's, the game started putting the bench players in, some of the guys that, aren't really necessary for the video. And as you guys see, it's already an hour long. Don't need to make this video any longer than it has to be. But we will fast forward through. It was a pretty good game for the most part, but the sophomores did end up breaking away in the late third to fourth quarter, kind of running away with it, showing that extra year difference, which is why Blake Griffin should have been on the sophomore team. But they do pull out with a substantial victory, winning by over 20 points. But it's alright, because our main man Boogie was definitely looking like the best player out there on that rookie squad. Getting some steals, doing what he does during the regular NBA games. Getting steals, blocking some shots, finishing well at the rim, grabbing a bunch of boards. We like to see that no matter what, Cousins is always going to shine. It's Boogie with a hoodie, baby. No, that's fine. But he, along with John Wall and a couple other guys, had some pretty solid games. Blake Griffin also did have a double-double with 12 and 10, and he had 4 assists. So not a bad game at all. But like I was saying, it was pretty much just the starters on both teams that are like the superstar, all-star levels. So that's all it really highlighted. Tyreke also lit us up during this game, grabbing some rebounds and shooting some corner threes. I was about to say grabbing some corner threes, but that wouldn't sound smart. And then obviously the floater he hit earlier in the first half. But that is going to wrap up that rookie sophomore game. But going into the rest of All-Star Weekend, we're going to take a look at the All-Star participants, and they're all pretty much the usuals. We got Rondo and KG for the Boston squad. We got Dwight Howard, obviously Wade and LeBron from the Heat. Derrick Rose and still in his MVP form. Carlos Boozer actually makes a surprise appearance, and Brandon Jennings also makes it out on the East squad. And on the West squad, pretty much the same usual around this time. Chris Paul, Kobe, KD, Russell Westbrook, Dirk Nowitzki, Timmy D, Tony Parker, Blake Griffin. All the usuals that you'll see. Well, actually, Tim Duncan actually didn't make it. Excuse me. It was actually Deron Williams and Pau Gasol and a couple others that made it. But more of the usual guys who were making the All-Star teams around this time. But we will show a little bit of action, as I tried to watch these and record these in full. But I will say 2K definitely dropped the ball with the All-Star weekend, the dunk contest was kind of pitiful to watch. That's why y'all ain't gonna see too much of that. But I did highlight some stuff from the three-point contest as JJ Redick was lighting it up. We'll take a look at his wonderful round. Hitting the first 2 money balls and another one. We definitely love to see who are the young great shooters back then, especially considering the 3-ball wasn't as heavy as it is nowadays. But Redick's lighting it up, man. He has a lot of points throughout. He's only passed the first 2 racks. I mean, he's doing what he has to do. It might be like JJ might be walking away with this one. Yeah, definitely looks like JJ walking away. The man is on fire. And he hit the extra ball. He only has 2 more racks to go, and he's already nearing 20. Like JJ could definitely be the winner. As you can see, the rest of the contestants right there in the corner. We have Eric Gordon, Kevin Martin, Rudy Gay, Matt Bonner, Steph Curry, and obviously JJ shooting it right now. But JJ has a wonderful round, shooting 25. I believe he only missed like 5 or 6 shots. So that was definitely the best round of the first round. But we'll take a look at some others and how well they did. Kevin Martin with that weird looking jumper does finish off under 20, leaving him out of the top 3. And now it's Stephen Curry's turn. Young, old Steph Curry. He looks old, but this is only like his 4th season, I think. So definitely want to see what he can do as he's getting into his prime to be one of the greatest 3-point shooters ever. So definitely want to see if he can put a 3-point champion underneath his belt as he looks to be stroking from early. Can he hit one of the money balls? Man, can't miss the easy ones, Steph. Can't miss the easy ones. Put in the comment section if y'all like all these updates and stuff they've done to All-Star Weekend. I think they're doing what they can to make it fun, try to make it exciting, but it's just not the same as when, like, if you're older, you know, it was just much more fun to watch the All-Star Weekend, man. Put in the comment section what was your favorite All-Star Weekend. Was it the one where Vince Carter went crazy in the dunk contest? Or maybe it was the one where Jason Richardson went crazy. Because he had some crazy dunks that season too. I think that was a couple years before that, in the early 2000s. Or did you like when Blake Griffin did it this year in this current season, just not in this universe, jumping over the Kia car and everything? Dwight Howard with the Superman cape. Just let me know in the comments what was you guys' favorite dunk contest that y'all can remember, or favorite All-Star Weekend. It could have been a great skills challenge or a 3-point contest, but whatever was memorable for you guys, put that in the comment section, man. Let me know. But like I said, Vince Carter's one is just infamous. That man just had too many great dunks in that dunk contest. Definitely go down as one of the best events ever. But as we get into the final round, it was a 3-way tie between Bonner, Eric Gordon, and Steph Curry in the first round. So all of them got a chance to make it to the final round along with JJ Redick. But we will show Steph Curry, as he did have one of the better rounds in the final round, heating up 22-23. Not beating out JJ for the best, but he did surpass him for the final round. As we're looking for JJ to heat up, he's only at 15 getting into the final rack, so he's going to have to basically hit them all. Misses the first 2, makes the 3rd one, but it's pretty much over. There's no way he's going to be able to get to 23. And that is going to be it. Matt Bonner and Eric Gordon finished with similar scores. Oh, excuse me, I forgot Matt Bonner actually got kicked out, because after they had a tiebreaker, and Eric Gordon and Curry won out on a tiebreaker. But Curry does end up winning the entire thing. Not really a surprise there. And then we get into the dunk contest. Like I said, it was pretty mundane. The computer didn't really do any crazy dunks, but we'll highlight a couple. Rookie John Wall does his 360 slam. It's kind of weird to me that they're not dribbling, at least doing the 1 or 2 big dribbles. So it looks kind of awkward with them just straight up carrying the ball. but it is what it is. So yeah, Curry wins that 3-point contest, and now we're hoping that John Wall can continue that same success with the dunk contest. Now it is Blake Griffin's turn. As we all know, he was a highlight reel during this time, but like I said, guys, they did some pretty boring dunks, as this one looks pretty much the same as John Wall's. The only difference is John Wall did drop it low. Pause. He did bring the ball down and bring it back up before he slammed it during the 360. Blake Griffin was much more plain, but somehow gets a 41 out of 50. But we'll take it. We do show another Blake Griffin dunk. Hopefully this one could be a little more exciting than he did the first dunk. And he does show a pretty nice tomahawk windmill slam as he's ready to punch the cameraman for no reason. But he actually got a lower score for that one. So John Wall does win the dunk contest with the dunk he had earlier, and another dunk that was also pretty plain. I didn't want to bore you guys with the highlights because there wasn't really any highlights. We're getting through that second part, that Saturday. Now we do finish up with Sunday with the actual All-Star game. But as we showed earlier, we have no Kings participants, so we're just going to sim straight through it. And it was a blowout victory for the Eastern Conference, as LeBron and company, KG had almost a triple-double. He had a few more assists, but they dropped crazy points. Definitely, if they had a All-Star game MVP, probably would have went to KG. But man, they destroyed the West. That's what happens when you don't invite Cousins. Just playing. But yeah, them boys got butchered, as the East is showing who is the better conference. As Manu also made it. I didn't even see Manu there. I think he might have replaced somebody who was injured. I think Manu replaced Kobe, because Kobe was injured at the All-Star break. But getting back centered on the Kings, we're not looking for much. Fan interest is at an all-time low at 39%. There's not much we can do with this roster, with this squad at this point. Trade deadline and everything's passed. So at this point, we're just going to hope for a better future and get through this season. We only have 11 wins, and so we're pretty much guaranteeing a top 3 pick, because at most, even if we won every game, we maybe have a little over 20 wins, and there's only 30 some games left in the season. And so for the rest of the episode, we are going to sim through the rest of the season after this break. We'll just have one more game, as it's time to look on to greener pastures and better records, because I ain't gonna be a GM much longer if we keep up seasons like this. Looking back into the draft to see what kind of talent is still left, or get a better idea of where people might get picked, especially now that we're getting closer to the end of the season. We see Kyrie and his interesting badge set. Definitely want to see what he can do. Surprised he has Big Driver and Bulldozer. Big Driver is kind of understandable, because we know Kyrie is fantastic from isolation in the mid-range area, but even 3-point area as well. But the Bulldozer really got me. Wasn't expect him to have Bulldozer. But we know Kyrie can cook, and we know Kawhi is a two-way monster. So either one that we can get in this draft definitely would be a lovely surprise. It just depends on if we don't get the first pick, because we never know what the lottery odds. We never know with 2K. If we don't get the first pick, then whoever does get the first pick be interesting for who they pick. And hopefully we get second, at least second or third, so we can just pick right after that. But either one would be fantastic for us, as we are missing a great playmaking point guard, and we definitely need help on the defensive end. So either or would be perfect for us, and might be allow us to clear up some cap space, because we can move on from some other players. Kemba Walker is also a standout at UConn at this time, dropping buckets, but we all know why Kemba's out the league at this point. Size does matter. We need a guy who can play a little bit better on the other end, on the defensive end. We know he'll drop buckets, but can he play solid defense? And obviously the two-way sharpshooter Klay Thompson, Tobias Harris, Brandon Knight, Jonas Valanciunas. Basically anybody can help our squad out right now. But we know the main thing we need is some better defense and some guys who can kind of create their own shot. Jimmy Buckets is also available, so he would also be a great option for a team as well. It looks like there's about 3 superstars. I mean, Jimmy's a tougher one because no one predicted Jimmy would be a superstar. Everyone thought he'd be a solid player, a solid role player, but no one expected him to be the man like he is now. No one expected him to lead a team to a championship. Because remember back then in his early days, he was just the bench player that replaced Luol Deng and Derrick Rose and Ronnie Brewer when they were tired. That's all he was doing back then. We do face some more injuries with Darius Sungala getting down. So now that does kind of shorten our bench, as we already have plenty of other guys injured. Barbosa was just coming off of an injury himself. As you can see, the history, we just cannot keep guys healthy. I don't know what it is, but guys just are getting injured left and right. And what amazes me is how they just be breaking and fracturing legs and then coming back in 2 weeks. Ain't no way I'm gonna break my leg and be back on the court in 2 weeks. In 4 weeks. I need mental recovery. You know what I'm saying? You break your leg, it's kind of hard to just be like, all right, I'm just gonna go back out there knowing that I broke my leg last time playing this sport. Greg Patterson, one of the guys we traded for, is going to have to get substantial minutes now. And we're going to have to give other players minutes like Nick Gordon's and other randoms. But at this point, we really don't care. We're pretty much a guarantee to be the worst team in the league. We're just trying to get through the season. Hopefully unscathed. At this point, we're just hoping nobody tears the ACL or something and can't make the beginning of next season. For Luther Head is going to be the starting 2 with Goran Dragic now. And we all know the offense in the team, it just centers around Cousins. So just trying to get some shooting. We do beat a surprisingly decent team, a playoff caliber team in the Memphis Grizzlies. Zach Randolph went off for the double-double, but the rest of the team was kind of cold for them. Or at least didn't shoot the ball enough. That's OJ Mayo. Also was a first-team rookie a couple years ago. That man was in and out the league, man. He was pretty good for like 5-6 seasons. Pretty solid player. The next thing you know, he was gone. But definitely a solid squad out there in Memphis. So I'd like to see when we do get the win. Sungala, before he get injured, did drop 19. So maybe that's why he was injured. Scored more points than his body could even handle. Would definitely love to see all the people at double digits. Good assist by Dragic, 7 assists. With over half the assists. So that definitely highlights a problem for our team. 13 assists in a whole ball game is crazy. 13 assists, but somehow we scored 100 points. So it wasn't because of the ball movement, obviously. But as we get down into the end of the season, we're more likely just going to play one more game just to see our team off. And that game will be up against the Jazz. But before we do, we will have a healthy Leandro Barbosa. But then as soon as we get healthy, we lose another one as our man Cousins is strained left hip. Man, we cannot buy a break on this season. I mean, we at least wanted to see what our squad would look like fully healthy, but I guess not. As Dragic has been going crazy in these last few games. You see he almost dropped a triple-double. And he's averaging well above the 15-16 mark. So it looks like he's having a career season with us. Definitely love to see that. And that's why we made the trade for him. He's a little bit better of a playmaker than Tyreke Evans was, and a much better shooter from the perimeter to help space the floor. We'd definitely love to see this string of solid games other than that 4-point game. And kind of the same thing with Barbosa. He's mostly been coming off the bench into the last couple games, but obviously the injuries. But even then, he's been a good spark plug at getting above 10 points a game coming off the bench. And especially considering how bad our bench is at scoring, we need a guy like him for now. Well, really not even just our whole team struggles to score, but you definitely need that lightning rod coming off the bench, and he's been pretty good at it. And he's even piling up more assists. He got 4 assists a game, 5 assists one game, even though he does have a couple games with no assists. Jared Dudley, since the trade, has been, he's just been here. He plays pretty good defense, so you can't not have him in the lineup or playing. But him and Caspi really just have not been lighting up the 3-point line like I was hoping they would. But at least they keep the space for being a threat. But we definitely have our work cut out for us playing the rest of the season. Well, hopefully not, but it looks like to be playing the rest of the season without Cousins, as we do take a loss to the Blazers squad in that game losing Cousins, as he did drop 31 and 14 with 2 blocks and 2 steals on very efficient shooting. Even hit a 3-pointer. It's like they always seem to go when they play well. They just want us to play bad. As you can see, some of our lowlights and highlights, we average under 100 points a game. We're 1-9 in our last 10 games, and we have under 20 assists per game, while shooting 42% from the field. We're worse at home than we are away, and that's just not going to cut it, man. We've got to improve. The thing is, I feel like we've put ourselves in position to hopefully have a good future, but it's just a couple seasons where you just gotta stink it, man. We're stink meaner, man. We are bad, and we just gotta take it. We do take a couple more losses to keep the losing streak going. I think it's at about 4 games now, 5 games since we did get that win versus the Grizzlies. And what do you know? As soon as I mentioned Dragic, he is injured. Got a guy with a strained left hip. Now we got a guy with a strained left ankle. Everyone's just breaking their left legs. It's wild out here. But trying to keep up with the rest of the league, we also noticed that Scott Skiles actually was fired by Milwaukee. They sent him on out of there and moved the assistant head coach in that position. But then I also noticed another thing. Yao Ming actually got traded from the Rockets. Michael Beasley and Hedo Turkoglu, who somehow Hedo ended up on the Rockets, was traded to the Timberwolves. From the Timberwolves to the Rockets for Yao Ming and an excess player. And as we look at the rest of the trades, the rest of them are just kind of regular. Now we see how Hedo ended up on the Timberwolves. So Hedo's been traded twice in one season. That kind of sucks. Along with our trade they made earlier that you guys saw, Carl Landry, and then obviously the Tyreke Evans trade. But yeah, just that quick, they got Yao Ming up out of there. I guess Houston no longer has a problem. But as we get through the season, it's just a womp season, man. We're just looking through trying to find what's the last game that we're going to play before we get through. We get blown out by the Spurs, but we do beat a Hornets squad holding in to 60 points. And then we do beat a Cavs team and a Sixers team. So definitely love to see we can win, even though our full roster isn't back yet, as Cousins did come back, but we are still missing Dragic. Barbosa did lead the way, and Cousins was not too far behind him with a double-double and all them rebounds, which is crazy. But other than him and Patterson, they're pretty much the only 2 rebounders we have on the team, as we just got to improve in so many areas. It's almost too many to count at this point. But definitely love to see the good wins versus some opponents, as with 11 wins at one point in the season, you'll pretty much take anything. We don't like the low attendance, but we don't blame the fans. We'd rather y'all just not come than show up in the brown paper bags and make us look worse than we already are. Mo Williams, Mo Buckets, who has been having a crazy season out there in Cleveland, preparing for LeBron to not come. No, I was playing. LeBron's already on the Heat, but Mo is carrying that team now that LeBron is gone, and it's just him running the show. And like I said, we also did go around and beat the Sixers, having a fantastic fourth quarter, holding them to under 20 while we scored 33. Barbosa again leads the way with some inefficient shooting. But Cousins was always there to clean it up, and he had a pretty solid game himself. You take a loss to an also struggling Timberwolves squad, another loss to the Bulls, but we do beat the upstarting Bucks, and then we get another injury. But we take a look back now that Dragic is back for a couple games and has been back. We take a look at that. He did start balling as soon as he came back, and it looks like it had a positive effect on Cousins as well. He did have 30 and 10 in a game. 20 and 10. Giving him extra 10 points. 20 and 10 in a game versus the Pacers. But we all know Cousins is Mr. Consistency, so it really doesn't matter. It just helps the team out a little bit more. This stunt with Dragic injured did highlight something for me with Barbosa. It did prove to me that we want to keep him on a minutes restriction, because when he plays too much, he can be inefficient, which can kind of hurt the team more than help. We did win some games with him running as the primary ball handler, but he's not a fantastic passer. He's more of a scorer who passes from his scoring, and sometimes he can go very inefficient, which is what he did today versus the Pacers. We're going 4 of 13. But I mean, his consistency isn't always there, so we do kind of have to look elsewhere as far as a starting two guard to pair with Dragic. We do want to highlight the wins, as even though we were losing, we want to highlight the good game, as we did beat on the Bucks, like I mentioned earlier, scoring 112. Looks like the main differences were in the second half. High scoring third quarter and a good defensive fourth quarter for us. Barbosa did lead the way again, this time shooting a lot better and shooting 50% from the 3-point line. Love to see it, especially shooting 6 of 12. Showing the range on him. But as the season begins to dwindle and we get into the final 3 weeks, well, I guess 2.5 weeks before they get into the playoff picture, we'll play up against the Utah Jazz. I feel like that was a pretty comparable opponent to play against. As you guys saw, we did go 1 of 2 in our last 3 games, losing back-to-back to the Nuggets, but beating the Suns, who we did make that trade to. And remember, guys, we did trade a pick with the Suns as well, so beating them also helps us with our draft picks, as Barbosa once again is leading the team in scoring. See, I think that 27-28 minute mark is a very good mark for Barbosa, as he can light it up when he wants to. It's just those games where he's inefficient, where he costs the team. As once again, we had a fantastic defensive fourth quarter, holding the Suns to under single digits. They only had 9 points. That's crazy. They went stone cold in the fourth quarter, pretty much leading to the victory, as we see what our old teammates did. Spates has been doing pretty solid over there in Phoenix. Looks to be more of a rebounding threat, but he is getting more shots up and getting more looks, which is why we traded him, man. He wasn't going to get too many touches on our team, and he didn't really fit what we were trying to do. But if you also notice, there was no Tyreke Evans in this game. I believe he was injured, and so we didn't get a chance to play him for the last time, but it's all good. We did take 2 back-to-back losses to the tough Denver squad. Cousins with his usual double-double. Melo had 28 with a double-double, and so did Nene with a double-double to highlight that game. And we lost by even more, surprisingly, in the game prior to that. Tyreek Evans, being the young superstar on that team now, has been going off for the Suns. As you can see, some 10 assist games, averaging pretty much over 20 points, a couple 30-point games. As he really won't be missed, but it's good to see that we traded him to a happy home where he can kind of thrive and succeed. But I still definitely think it was the right move. But let me know in the comments, guys. Put in the comments down there how y'all feel about the move still. Do y'all think that it was a smart thing to let Tyreek go? Or was it better to just keep him on the roster and try to build with him? As we look at the picks, oddly enough, for some reason, even though we have a worse record, they for some reason have the Bucks with the number 1 pick. 2K, please don't show us how rigged you are. This doesn't make any mathematical sense. We have more losses and less wins and a lower win percentage. Even though we have 1 extra game left, how are the Bucks a lower seed than us? Doesn't make any sense. Like, less wins, more losses. And somehow we're the second. They have us at the second pick for odds. Hopefully that doesn't mean they're going to cheese us and bullshit us from our first pick when it comes to the draft lottery. Hopefully it doesn't mean that. But another good thing is it does look like the Suns appear to be about a 12 seed, or 12 seed, the 12th lottery odds. So hopefully with that pick, we can also stack up and get another good rookie to pair with what we already have. But yeah, that's just weird. We have the worst record easily, and they still have the Bucks higher than us with lottery odds. Interesting. But anyways, we are going to go up against the Utah Jazz, led by D. Williams and Paul Millsap out there.
Here we go!
And I hope y'all ready for the last final home game of the season for us. We are in Arco Arena. As I showed earlier, I mean, we're just a bad team, but it looks like we're a little bit worse in Sacktown. So definitely want to try to bring a win home to the Sac area. As they have Garrett Temple, Ante Kirilenko, and Gordon Hayward rounding out their starting 5 for Utah. But it is time to get to rumbling. It's time to duel. It's time to settle the score. It's time to go mano-a-mano. It's time to get a victory, Sacramento. Dang, get a victory. Here goes the tip off. Let's get it started. Millsap does win it. Kind of surprised they have him at the center. I think in real life during this time, he always was at the power forward, because he's like 6'8", 6'7". Hayward does do a nice does do a nice crossover. And D. Will comes in off the nice pass. Cuts straight to the rim for the fillet. That was nice over Cousins. But now it's our time to set up some offense, to show some good teammate chemistry after all these games played together. Simple drop down to the post for Cousins. Hits him with that patented drop step. Gets the foul. Millsap couldn't handle the power, man. Too much power for the boy. As Cousins has definitely been our lone bright spot. Cousins and Dragic having a career year has been our 2 bright spots of the season. Barbosa has been good, but he's pretty much done what he's gonna do. He's a veteran at this point, been in the league about 6-7 years. He's gonna produce what he produces. But it's good to see Dragic and Cousins show a pretty solid 2-man and have some pretty good scoring for us. But D. Will once again going at it with a nice floater right outside the paint, right over Cousins' stretched arms. And it looks like we ain't gonna get too many blocks on him today. Looks like he's in his bag. But Dragic does do a quick little crossover to get the ball to Cousins in the post again. Cousins trying to show that work, hitting him with the fake. And then bam, with another drop step, mean elbow for the nice dunk as Cousins just hangs on the rim a little bit. Saying he tired of carrying this team. His back hurt. But he doing what he got to do anyways, trying to secure the win. But Williams again with the floater, but great defense this time, crowding the paint. Kirilenko, same thing. And now it's boogie time. It's boogie time. Going down the lane. It's boogie time. It's boogie time. But he passes that thing this time. It's all right. But just the threat of him dribbling leads to the Dudley mid-range. Nice little jumper coming from Jared Dudley. If that's what we want to see. Obviously, you probably want him a little bit more on the three-point line, but buckets are buckets. Barbosa slashes through with the easy leg. You can't slow down his quickness. As are still cooking us, as Deron Williams is going off into a hot game so far. Definitely dropping buckets on our heads. He does make a move, and Paul Millsap and him do run a 2-game. Definitely want to see if Dragic and Cousins can cover it well, and we give up an alley-oop. Man, that's a rough one right there. Definitely got to play better defense on those possessions, as Deron Williams is still out here cooking. Another finish over our smaller guards. This is not the way we wanted to end our season. But Barbosa does get a nice dribble and playmaking on 100 as he's able to make a nice pass to Cousins for a easy slam. Definitely love to see when Cousins is rocking the rim. So definitely love to see that. And our playmaking, as we're not the greatest in assists, but Deron Williams is still cooking, and one on Casspe's head right there. I believe he has already an early 8 or 10 points at this point with a couple assists. So we're definitely hoping to slow him down a little bit, as Millsap does swing it to Garrett Temple. And good ball movement, good motion by this team. We don't think Garrett Temple's gonna shoot that. Ain't no way. And he pulls it and greens that thing right as we put our hands up. And that was all I needed to see to get this simmed, as we were in an ass whooping, guys. We were getting slaughtered from left to right. Utah was on a run. They were listening to that jazz music, and they was playing very in sync and in tune. As you can see, going into halftime, we were down about 17, almost 20 points. We are down about 19, 20 points at this point. But we definitely have some things we need to address in the offseason, especially these scoring droughts that we go on. But looking at our roster, it's not really a surprise. We really only have 3 guys who can really put the ball in the hoop consistently, in Cousins, Dragic, and Barbosa. Everybody else is either just a shooter or somebody who's better in the paint as far as rebounding or defensive wise. So definitely looking to get a more legitimate first or second option to pair along with Cousins and Dragic and Barbosa. But speaking of that man, mama, there goes that man with more points on the board, as Cousins has a solid 15 and 13 already, as we quickly join back into the action. You see Coach Udoka out there. Definitely wonder what he can do. Ain't he the Rockets coach now? I wonder what he can do out there in Houston. Might be able to lead them to a nice team. Him and Fred VanVleet joining the squad. And Luther Head does make a nice pass to Sungila, but definitely not the greatest finisher. But Cousins gets him on the pump fake, hop step, not able to finish, but we do get the foul, as Udoka was too eager to help on that one. But a great move by Cousins, and that's the kind of things that we want. We want more spacing so Cousins can put in that work, because we know he's a guy who can take other bigs off the dribble and overpower pretty much anybody else. We'll definitely hope that evolves in his game in future seasons. But right now, we're out here getting punished, and he's the only one who's really putting up a fight. Him and Dragic are definitely having a pretty solid game. But with Dragic with only 1 assist, it's not a good thing you want to see from your starting point. More passing from their starting point, with Williams having a nice drop-off pass to Millsap for another easy bucket. And now it's time to go back to Boogie. Another paint beast. It's Boogie time. What is Dragic hitting him with a step back? What a move out there. Okay, Dragic, we see you. We see you out here snatching on him. That was definitely an excellent move by Dragic. Definitely want more of that, as we know he can score in spurts, him and Barbosa. Williams coming off another pick and roll. I don't know why Barbosa ended up on Millsap. We had 3 other guys who could have covered him a lot better. But we know the size mismatch, that's an easy bucket. We do another little 2-man with Dragic, but except this time Cousins gets the board off the Dragic's missed 3. Showing that he still is that monster, trying to keep the fans in Arco Arena excited. Even if it ain't for this game, maybe at least next season, knowing that they just drafted their future franchise player. Some good action by the Jazz. As you can see Williams coming off the screen. They set a pick and roll, Millsap and Hayward. With 5 seconds left, ain't no way he's going to beat Dragic. That's exactly what he does. Nice floater off the glass. Definitely wish we could have got a little more help a little sooner on that one. The rotation wasn't there, especially on a hot guy. Definitely got to get out there quicker. That's on our bigs to play a little better interior defense. But Cousins, as y'all see, was about to cook again. But unfortunately, they did not call that continuation, so he did not get rewarded for the bucket. As Millsap really sitting there like, what did I do, man? You pushed the man completely out of bounds. What do you think happened? But on the very next play, what a perfect dime from Cousins out of the post, feeding it to Dragic. As we see on the replay the other way around, as Dragic fed Cousins for a nice dunk, trying to close the gap, but the lead looks to be a little bit insurmountable. But look at Dudley. Great interceptor on that with a nice fillet on him, showing that defensive prowess that we're definitely going to need coming in the next season. We're not sure if he's going to be that guy, if we're really going to sign him, but definitely hoping that if we do, he continues something like that. Udoka does get his highlight with a one-hand slam on our heads to extend that lead to 19. Well, actually to 21, excuse my math. With under a minute to go, so at this point it is garbage time. But a sweet give and go for Luther Head, and that's on top of their head. Easy lay, switching up with the left hand finish to protect the ball. That was beautiful by Head. But that will be our last highlight of the season, as we will sim out the remaining, because this was a tough one, man. We're looking to finish probably the worst record in the league. But the only thing that we can hope for is that we set ourselves up in position for the next couple years to dominate. We're trying to do like what OKC is doing right now currently, using draft picks and other avenues other than free agency to possibly build this team up to that competitor. Definitely have some tough teams to go through, as the Thunder is obviously going to be up and coming. The Heat with their big three. As we watch Cousins slamming home multiple times, my man was doing his usual, beasting and feasting, man. Barbosa and Dragic had good games, but we are going to be going up against some tough competition for the years to come. Some teams are aging, but some teams are coming up with their youth, so definitely looking to see how we can counteract that. But I think this is the perfect time for us to get right into that mix and take some championships away from Mr. Not one, not two, but three. And LeBron out there taking his talents to South Beach. But Dragic's had a pretty good scoring game. Definitely want to see a little bit more assist from him though, as Dudley should not be our leading assist man with 5. But we did have a pretty good scoring game from 5 people. The rest of the guys kind of shot poorly or just didn't shoot much at all. But the main reason why we lost, we know, was the defense, man. We could not slow down Deron Williams. That pick and roll with him and Millsap was just too good. Millsap was getting a bunch of boards and able to finish on us. Now if you take a look at their stats, 32-9 with 3 steals from Millsap. He had a heck of a game. Deron Williams played 40 minutes and had a double-double. Very little turnovers, very efficient. That just clearly shows that we don't have that lockdown on the perimeter to mitigate some of those stats and slow him down a little bit. He was able to get to his spots when he wanted to, make the passes when he wanted to, basically able to do whatever he wanted to, whenever he wanted to, him and Millsap. So definitely tough. Karolinko also provided solid defense, him and Garrett Temple, for those boys, as they're also not really a contender in the playoffs, but definitely don't want to get blown out by teams that are pretty similar to us in record. I think at this time they had maybe a handful of wins over us. Definitely want some better positions. Just look at that fading 3. I mean, Deron was hitting all of them, bro. Mr. Williams, Will.i.am, man. We're gonna catch you in the next season, man. You ain't gonna be doing that in this whole series, man. That ain't gonna happen. But he definitely was balling that day. And as we get into the playoff picture, we see those young and upcoming Thunder are number 1, with the Nuggets, Spurs, Mavericks, Lakers, Clippers, and Rockets following. Looks like the Grizzlies have pretty much sewn in their playoff spot as long as they don't lose too many games. And we do see where our draft pick that we talked about earlier is in the Suns. They look to be the 10th seed. So as long as they'll make the playoffs, we will at least have another lottery pick. As we take a look onto the Eastern side, the big three up there. Prime Rose is number 2. You got the Celtics, Pacers, Hawks following that up, with the Knicks clearing up that 8th spot. And if you guys haven't already, go check out that first episode of the Knicks franchise. I got it somewhere in the playlist. Go ahead and see that, as that is a good, also up and coming series that definitely excited to share with y'all. Got some big moves on the way for both series. But we can definitely take a look and see how the league is doing. And like I said, the Jazz only had maybe 10 more wins than us, and they blew us out like they were playoff people. So definitely have to get better for this upcoming season, as we're already looking into the future, man. We're already there.
Records are going. As we see with the Suns, they are 32-44. We want them to lose some more with the 6 games remaining, lose as much as possible so we can get a better draft pick. But we know we're going to be top 30, guaranteed. We do lose. We do have a 5-game losing streak to wrap up the season. It's been going up against the Lakers, the prime Kobe and Gasol. We can kind of guess what happened there. He took another loss. But MVP is LeBron James. I can see his terrific stat line. Over a block, 2 steals. Almost averaged a triple-double. Definitely deserved it. But boo, Blake Griffin. He technically was a sophomore, but took the award from Cousins. I should have overrun with it and made it Cousins, but Blake Griffin did really win it in real life, so we're not going to take it from him. But LeBron also wins Defensive Player of the Year, so this is a season for the record books for LeBron, trying to be on his best Jordan impression, winning MVP and Defensive Player of the Year in the same season. Jordan Farmar on the Nets now does win Most Improved. Scott Brooks wins Coach of the Year, having the best record out there in OKC. But man, I can't believe Blake Griffin snubbed Cousins for the Rookie of the Year. They definitely were close. Obviously, I have a little favoritism, a little bias, want Cousins to win. But boo, Blake Griffin. Timmy D and Pau Gasol. So that's weird. Tim Duncan didn't make the All-Star team, but he made the first team All-NBA. Interesting. He might have been injured. Might have to go back. Let me know in the comment section if maybe he was injured or something from what I've shown. But it did look like he was injured during the All-Star game. It looked like he just wasn't picked, oddly enough. The third team is Kobe with Rajon Rondo and Josh Smith. First team All-Defense is Dwayne Wade, Russell Westbrook, Dwight Howard and company. All-Defense is second team is Blake Griffin, not Blake Griffin, Chris Paul and some others. All-Rookie team is Cousins with his double-double and 2 assists and a block and a half. On some pretty efficient shooting, that's why I thought he should have won it. But him, John Wall, and Blake Griffin do round out that first team. Trevor Booker, Derek Favors, Gordon Hayward, Larry Sanders, and Jeremy Lin are on the all-rookie second team. So pretty much the guys we kind of expected. Everything pretty much went as usual, as it did in real life. But since we are not a factor in this playoff picture, we will sim through the whole playoffs in this episode. So we will crown a champion for this 2010-2011 season. Or maybe 2011-2012. Don't mind me, guys. These years going back and forth mess with your head after a while. But we did want to see how it ended up. And the Jazz did end up with a worse record than the Hornets. So that is a better odds at a lower pick. Looking at the league leaders, we see LeBron and KD are the top 2. Which is why LeBron did win MVP. I mean, leading the league in scoring. Top 5 in assists. Top 10 in steals. Winning Defensive Player of the Year. It's like, man, LeBron had a crazy season. Look at the rebound leaders. K Love, Dwight Howard, Chris Humphries. Our guys will round out that list. As we said, LeBron is number 7 for the assist, along with Raymond Felton, Baron Davis, Steve Nash, Chris Paul, kind of rounding out that top 10. Rondo did lead the league in assists and steals, as Westbrook was too far behind. They both tied for the league. Chris Paul was right there. LeBron with 2 steals, and rookie Paul George also almost had 2 steals. And then when it comes to blocks, we know a blocker is going to be somewhere up there: Roy Hibbert, Andrew Bogut, Tim Duncan, Marc Gasol, and Pau Gasol. So the brothers right next to each other, and then Birdman to round out that top 10. But more importantly, looking into our overall team stats, obviously we had the least amount of wins on the season, but we were also the worst scoring team in the league and the top 3 worst defense in the league. So that definitely is going to lead to a high point differential when you're the worst scoring team and the 3rd worst defensive team. So like I've been saying all video, we basically need to improve everywhere. There isn't an area that we don't need to improve. We need more scoring, we need better defense, we need better shooting, as we are bottom 4, bottom 5 in the league. Don't even shoot that many attempts. Well, actually, we shoot a decent amount. We shoot about league average for 15.5. 33% is on the lower end though of percentages made, so we're not making them at a great clip. We're not getting to the free throw line like we need to, as we are bottom 3 in free throws attempted. And then even when we get there, we're still in the bottom half at making them, so we're not even taking advantage of our opportunities when we do get to the line. When it comes to the boards, we also aren't that great either, but we're at least middle of the pack with offensive rebounds. And we know guys like Patterson and Cousins are definitely helping with that stat line. So we do get better in the rebounding department, but we know that's because Cousins is carrying us, and even still, we are second to last in overall rebounding, meaning we're not getting that great of defensive boards, considering we weren't terrible offensive rebounding. We were 22nd, but defensive rebounding, we was even lower. We are bottom 5 in assists, so the ball movement, the passing isn't there. Definitely want to look for some more playmakers coming into the draft and free agency. And then steals and blocks, we are bottom 5 as well, which probably leads to why we are one of the worst defensive teams in the league. And we have a worse than the Bobcats, and the Bobcats only been a team for about a decade at this point. Turnover, this is one of our good spots, as we aren't a very high turnover prone team with only 14, which puts us in top 10 for one of the best ball security teams. But as we can see, everywhere else we are bottom 5, except points in the paint. But we know that's so basically Cousins is wholeheartedly carrying this team. The stats that are pretty much directly affected by Cousins are the ones where we're not completely last in, but everything else we are pretty much last. We're right about average with our bench, so definitely love the effect from Barbosa, and definitely want to add to that to hopefully get more bench scoring to lead to overall scoring going up. But yeah, guys, we're just we're in a tough predicament. Definitely have a long ways to go as far as forming this team into a championship contender. Looking at how we finished the year, we saw what Cousins did with his double-double. Barbosa wasn't too far behind, 14.2, coming off the bench mostly. And then we know Dragic, his stats kind of don't count as far as the starting, because when he was on the Suns, he came off the bench primarily, so that's why his is so low. But he did have a solid season, definitely better than what he did last year. I think he only averaged like 7 points last year, so for him to basically double that is impressive, even though he did start to get more starters minutes, so we hope that his efficiency remains. Head also did provide some also pretty good scoring when he did have to starting off the bench with 8 a game, but his field goal percentage was terrible. We wanted him to be a lethal 3-point shooter. He shot 36% from the field, so not really making too much. As we see, the main problem with our assists, even Dragic, leads our team in assists with 4.5. That's pretty bad. I always want to have at least one guy that's in like the 5 to 6 assist range. So 4.5 is really low. As far as blocks, the only one who seems to defend the rim is Boogie. The same thing with steals. You didn't have too many guys with high steals. So we're really looking to definitely upgrade this team heavily in the off season. So I hope you guys are excited for that. Definitely looking to maybe make a splash, as Sacramento isn't a huge market, so we're not going to have an extreme amount of money. But with our guys, with our team being so young and on such cheap deals, definitely don't see us not having cap space and cap room to try to make some moves. And we're going to have some good draft picks. So they're looking to change this team around, as we're not really looking for Barbosa to be the second shooter on the team. Like I said, he sometimes lacks the efficiency. So we much rather him be like the third or fourth option and the main option off the bench. So it looks like we're just looking for, the main thing we're looking for is that second scoring option, or even the main scoring option to go with Cousins, to kind of play off of Cousins or play well with Cousins. And we're looking for some better defenders that can help us in the paint and get some more steals and blocks to hopefully get us easier buckets. Because think about it, if we had just 2 or 3 extra steals, 2 or 3 extra blocks, that lowers how many points they score and that ups how many points we can score, because then we'll get easier transition buckets. But I'm just scrolling through the stats so you guys can kind of see how well the team did. Who was our best shooters? Who was best in certain spots? Who was hitting the free throws? Who was shooting the threes? And what led to this negative outcome that we did have? Because the only person we know that didn't really cause us to be this bad was Cousins. Everybody else had subpar seasons other than Cousins, Dragic, and Barbosa did what Barbosa does. So I ain't really mad at Barbosa's stats. His stats are pretty much aligned with what he does his whole career. The points allowed, Luther Head was the worst, playing some pretty awful defense. And when it comes to plus minus, Dudley was one of the worst as well, up there with Barbosa. And that's what I mean by we can't have Barbosa playing too many minutes, because although he adds some electrification with his offense, he is pretty bad on defense. So he kind of gets scored on pretty easily. But simming through the first round, no real upsets. Looks like all the top seeds won their games. A lot of those were sweeps. So we do sim to the next round. Dallas sweeps the Thunder. So what do you know? Dallas sweeps the Thunder to advance to the conference finals. Denver beats San Antonio 4-1. The Heat beat on Dwight Howard, and the Boston Celtics sweep D Rose out of there to lead up to a Heat Nugget matchup in the finals. But before we get there, let's check out the Eastern Conference and Western Conference finals. Mr. MVP himself is having a heck of a playoffs, as he did get a triple-double in Game 2 for them. KG tried to help bounce back in Game 3, but the Heat were just way too much. Beating up on them boys with their big 3 versus their big 3, or big 4. That's what I never got. They can always disrespect Rondo calling the Celtics the big 3. Like he wasn't one of the main reasons why they were winning that much. Yep, and then the Nuggets beat the Mavericks in 6, as Melo looks to be having a pretty good playoff. And it looks like we're getting the matchup that we always wanted, man. LeBron versus Melo in the finals. Who would have thought? Everybody wanted that to happen in real life. At least I know I did, especially being 2 guys that were drafted in the same year. It definitely would be nice. Would have been nice to see them face off in their primes in the NBA Finals, man. So put you guys in the comments. Would y'all have loved to see this in real life? A Melo LeBron Finals matchup? I know I would have. I think that would have been fun, especially exactly the way it is with Melo being on a very good Nugget squad and LeBron having his big 3. Maybe it might have been better with him on the Cavs, because I feel like this big 3 was just OD. It was just too much having Bosh and Wade. But I feel like even then, Melo would have gave LeBron and them hell in the finals. We're taking a further look at how these teams are doing in the playoffs. Obviously not us, because we didn't even make it. We're taking a look at it. Melo like I said, has been pretty much carrying this team. Over 30 points a game, 7 rebounds, about 4 assists and a steal. On very efficient shooting 58% or 57%. Along with the rest of the company, but I feel like they can hold their own versus this Heat squad. I feel like they can give them a run for their money. And then Heat, obviously, it's just really the Dwayne Wade, LeBron, and Bosh show. Bosh having a triple-double. LeBron and Wade averaging 7 rebounds along with their high-scoring numbers. So definitely want to see what they can do. But it wasn't much of a series, as in 5 games, the Heat do win the final game by 1 point. Looks like there was a pretty good contest. Looks like a game winner was hit for LeBron to win basically every award. He won MVP, he won Finals MVP, he won Defensive Player of the Year, and he won what was most important, the ring. So that is going to get us to our stopping point for this episode, guys. We are now officially in the off season. Time for me to put my work in and make this team to a championship roster. But anyways, guys, peace, love, blessings. Check out the next video and make sure you like, follow, and subscribe. I'm out.